Aren't you guys so excited to see the Empire once again? Especially so considering Kaiju is running them and he's brought Volkmar to take on the High Elves run by Ryder, the goat of Rohan from XMT. For the Empire army, we do have Volkmar, who is shoutcasting at the moment. You want to calm down there, man? He is on his war altar. He's got, of course, his Soulfire and Shield of Faith, including the Grand Hammer of Sigmar, going to be blessing his state troopers. He's got Jade Griffin to get that regen in, and he's got his Band Banishment, of course. For his caster, he's got a Grey Wizard with Penumbra Pendulum and Melkoth's, plus a Power Stone. Make sure to use that Power Stone. Some people just forget to use it all the time, including myself. It's just easy to forget about. But yeah, Volkmar is back, baby. He's here to run over some High Elves atop that war altar. Along with him, we've got some state troopers with spears, going to be doing pretty much nothing against the High Elf infantry, unless they're against other spears, which in case will be a noodle fight. But this time, no High Elf Spearmen. We got Knights of the Black Rose in the back for the Cav. We got great cannons to shoot away at any Dragon Princes, dragons, etc. And possibly Swordmasters, because we know this is Ryder. Silver bullets will also be hidden sneakily in this box. Going to be surprising Ryder potentially. For the High Elves, we do have Larry on foot, getting hit by a freaking cannon to her face, knocked to the ground there, along with her bodyguards, the Pure Main Company, White Lion Arwa, who do have that Guardian ability, giving her that word save, saving her a bit of damage from that cannon there. That's funny. Alarielle with the Star of Averlorn, Earthblood, and Life Bloom, plus of course her Boon of Isha, giving magical attacks in ITB, which obviously is very nice against the Empire. Though I don't know if they have a lot of terror aside from the Demigryphs and like Carmine Dragon. I can't think of anything right now. I guess Steam Tank. I don't know if Steam Tank causes terror. Either way, for the rest, it's still nice nonetheless. Fear also applies. Swordmasters will be the infantry here, aside from the Pyramid Company. But who is surprised? It is Ryder. Gotta expect some Swordmasters, especially against another player like Kaiju, who plays similarly. We also have the Storm Riders Arwa, who I see quite frequently nowadays. They're pretty good. They've got that Firewall Smoothing and Charge Reflection, which is very nice. No shields though, so they can take some bit of counterfire back, especially with that 40 armor, and lose quite a bit in value in return. Got Silver Helms for the Cav. Let's get right into it. Already, as you saw, that cannonball doing some pretty solid damage to the Pure Main, but that Earthblood is going to heal them up a bit, but unfortunately it does not regain any, they do not regain any models back. Of course, this ain't, Invocation. High Elves don't do that. They don't do that here. Volkmar just riding dirty, getting chipped away a little bit, but it doesn't matter because his item will just regen anything he gets chipped by, any damage he gets chipped by. The Grand Cannon is taking a bit of fire from the Lothern Sea Guard. Lothern Sea Guard, speaking of, are going to take a Banishment and a Penumbra Pendulum, hitting both of those. Very beautiful there. The Banishment kept some of that formation in place to hit both of them with the Penumbra Pendulum, but in response, Ryder's going to throw a Nerfblood on top of them. Is that overcasted? I don't know. He's going to hit both of them and heal up some of that damage. Hopefully regain some of that back. Knights of the Black Rose charge Swordmasters and Lothern Sea Guard. The charge does okay damage, but they take a bit of chip in return, especially from those Swordmasters who do have that very nice armor piercing. Even though it's for anti-infantry, it still does decent amount into Cav. Melkoth's thrown on top of the Silver Helms, slowing them down to give those Knights of the Black Rose time to retreat. These Knights of the Black Rose get a charge into the Pure Main Company and then are going to make their way over to support the flank and surround, or rather potentially deal with those Silver Helms. Grey Cannon got shut down. Crew is running away. They're going to potentially come back here. Silver Bullets still up, however. I'm going to start shooting away at Larry there. Doing some pretty nice damage. Oh my god. Just hopefully Larry doesn't freaking die here. But Ryder does see this and it's hard to screen them out potentially. They're taking quite a bit of damage from those arrows. The Lothern Sea Guard are no joke when it comes to shooting away at lower armored infantry or range units. Knights of the Black Rose get a charge there on the Swordmasters. It doesn't do as much in a front charge, especially with all the halberds blocking some of the models there from the Cav. Balance power looking A little bit in favor of the High Elves, not too bad though. The Silver Bullets are coming back to support. Another Earthblood hitting the Lothern Sea Guard, the Storm Riders, and the Sword Masters. Precisely the targets you want those two, that Earthblood to go to. The Silver Bullets get a very nice volley on the Storm Riders who don't have shields, of course, so they're going to take quite a bit of damage, especially on a side volley like that, which is very nice. Knights of Black Rose are going to push through the Sword Masters to get on top of the Storm Riders, potentially shut those guys down. Volkmar is causing all sorts of issues in the backline for the High Elves, terror routing those Lothern Sea Guard. These Knights of the Black Rose do run away, however, in the meanwhile, probably from being chopped away by the Pure Main Company, who had very easy time chopping away at those horse legs and armored cav with those massive great axes. The heal coming in there from Larry on top of the Sword Masters, trying to keep them in place, especially with an Earthblood. But they do end up terror routing thanks to Volkmar there. Another banishment going down on top of the Lothern Sea Guard, doing a tremendous amount of damage. They're bringing them down to half HP, a little below that, in fact. And it's causing the formation to get stuck in that single place, so they can't all immediately start shooting. But they're going to turn face and start shooting at the Knights of the Black Rose, who at the moment are still in combat with them partially, along with other units. A Melkoff's going down on the Silver Helms. That Melkoff is doing tremendous work, no surprise there, slowing them down, trying to give the Silver Bullets time to run away, but they are not going to be able to run away. They're probably going to be shut down here. The Knights of the Black Rose and Halberdiers are in tow to help out. A banishment, or rather Soulfire coming down here, hitting the Sword Masters, both of them plus the Pure Main Company. Not doing that much damage though. I don't think it has that great of AP if any at all. 0%. Yeah, not going to really do too much, if anything at all. Earthblood coming in there, another massive Earthblood hitting all three of these units, plus Larry. Very high value Earthblood there. Gonna keep those Sword Masters up because Ryder knows he needs these in the late game. Sword Masters are gonna chase down the Spearmen and potentially finish those guys off very, very quickly. Knights of the Black Rose continue away with their noodle fight against the Silver Helms, but they will eventually win that, given no potential support coming in there for the Silver Helms. Knights of the Black Rose get a charge in there on the Lothern Sea Guard. A very weak charge, as it is against a braced hybrid infantry like the Sword Masters, or rather the Lothern Sea Guard, so they're going to fend them off very easily, especially with the help of the Pure Main Company, who are going to surround them and start chopping away at those cav. Knights of the Black Rose finished off chasing the Storm Riders, or shattered them rather, and can now choose on a different target. Penumbra Pendulum going down, hitting the Lothern Sea Guard, doing some pretty decent damage there. Larry fighting away with Volkmar. I don't know this is the right call here, Chief. Larry, yeah. I mean, to be fair, he is on a chariot, right? So he can't do too badly. I mean, he can't do too much, right? He has 38 melee attack. Larry has 67 melee defense. Why is he taking so much damage? Why is she freaking taking so much damage? What? She's just freaking dead. What? How? Whoa, excuse me? If Volkmar the freaking Shad on his war chariot with 38 melee attack managed to beat the brakes off of Larry that quickly, how did he do so much damage? I know, what? Larry just got stomped. Oh my god. I can't believe it. The Sword Masters don't care, however. They're going to keep pushing, trying to finish off these state troopers. Same with the Pure Main Company. They also just do not care. Despite being the Guardian, they might be more pissed about it. The fact that Larry died. Volkmar, with that secured death there on Larry, is going to try to bring this back for the Empire, as Balance of Power thinks that they do not have a chance here. I mean, it does think they have a little bit of a chance, but not as much as the High Elves. Thinks that the High Elves are definitely in the lead here. Pure Main Company are taking a Melkoffs there and going to be chipping away at their help, training them, and they did a pretty decent amount of damage there. So the Pure Main Company are going to tear around, especially with that burst damage and Volkmar being nearby, who freaking causes terror on his War Altar, which is actually hilarious. What is terrifying about this man, aside from his how amazingly bald he is and devout he is to Sigmar. Speaking of, Sword Masters are going to be finding their way over to the Knights of the Black Rose and potentially fending them off from the Lothern Sea Guard. I can understand why the balance of power looks to be this way, because the Swordmaster is just so healthy. Specifically this one at 93 models, and these as well at 38. That's 38 is the models are just still very scary, and same over here at 77. So they still got quite a damage left to put in, especially with these Knights of the Black Rose routing off, and the other one close by as well at 17 models, only 15 leadership. And Volkmar as well taking quite a bit of damage from just sitting in spears. A lot of the Seaguard don't have the greatest AP in melee, but they still have 16 bonus versus large. So that definitely adds up, and Volkmar is going to be chipped away very, very easily as long as he just sits there in those spears. He does try to run down the Swordmasters, and he knocks down a few models there, doing a little bit of damage. But I do not think he is going to be enough. His devoutness to Sigmar, his faith in Sigmar is not going to carry him through this match, I believe. The Shadowcaster is trying his best here. The Grey Wizard smacking around Swordsmasters with his freaking staff and sword. Throwing a Melkoth down on the Swordmasters, chipping away at their health, draining them down. But it's not going to be enough. The Grey Wizard dips out, says enough is enough. I ain't dealing with this anymore. I do not get paid enough. I am too well trained to be dying to a bunch of elves. Volkmar calls down another Grand Soulfire on top of those Swordmasters. He's going to try to run down the rest, but he eventually ends up dying to the damage from those Leathern Seaguards that they shoot away, pepper away at his bald face and his silly little War Altar. Him and his War Altar destroyed. Same with that War Priest in the back. I couldn't think of what they were called for a moment. But yeah, that was a really solid match. There was very, very fun. Swordmasters showed up today and decided that the State Troopers are going to be but mere butter. They're going to be just carved through like butter, and really, really are just going to provide nothing for the Empire. Swordmasters showing up the humans, reminding them that the Elves reign on top. But Volkmar, let's look at his value here. 3267. I mean, Volkmar, baby. Look at that bald, smug head of his. Those freaking handlebars. That handlebar mustache. It gave him all the confidence and power he needed there, along with, of course, his faith in Sigmar to run down those high elves. And running them down, oh, he did. Casting banishment spells as well, casting banishment as well, and bringing them out hot soulfire. He did pretty fantastic there. I'd love to see a freaking Volkmar game. He's actually the only Warhammer character I've successfully drawn, which is quite funny. There's just something about him. His whole character is just so freaking goofy. I love him. He's the best, one of the best parts of the Empire. But yeah, he did freaking great. 20,000 damage on top of that War Altar of his. Love this man. He did good stuff. He did great, in fact. Speaking of great, we also have the Grey Wizard with 1600 value, solid Melkoth. Really nice seeing Penumbra Pendulum again. You guys all remember the Warhammer 2 Penumbra Pendulum meta. I've never appreciated most of the magic metas in the world competitive, the competitive scene, but the Penumbra Pendulum wasn't the worst. It just was the most cost effective, and you can't really. It's not nearly as boring as the Flock of Doom spam is nowadays, or the insta kill, meta was in here in Warhammer 3. Of course, there was some problems in Warhammer 2, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how much I want to say fond memories I have with the Penumbra Pendulum meta, but I do recall it being quite fun because it was, at the end of the day, it was still dodgeable. So it was like one of the best looking spells in the entire game to me. But nonetheless, Grey Wizard did fantastic. Exactly what you'd expect of a Grey Wizard lore-wise. They are extremely powerful casters. And they showed the high elves that they are not the only ones who can cast spells around here, pulling in spells like it's nobody's business, like they're a freaking is it player in Magic. 1196 here on these Knights of the Black Rose, 1172 here, 787 and 851. They did pretty good there. I mean, what did they have to contend against them? Silver Helms? Like, who cares, man? Speaking of Silver Helms, I brought them in Old World recently, and they got absolutely destroyed by Dawi. Can you believe it? No surprise there. I saw that they got like 10 more armor, by the way, in the newest update for Total Warhammer 3, which is good, I guess. I mean, they deserve the 100 armor, but they need more than that. They need a little bit more than that, that's for sure. But I'm sure we'll see more of them now. Anyways, Knights of Black Rose, yeah, they had not much to contend with there in terms of cav. But there was a hell of a lot of spears. So, despite them not having a lot of cav to have to fight back AP cav to ruin their day, they did have a lot of spears to also ruin their day. Despite them only having 40 armor, they're still a braced spear unit with pretty decent melee stats. So they're not going to have the greatest time even with their anti-infantry. And then if the Swordmasters or the Pyramid Company catch on to them, despite the Swordmasters being anti-infantry, they still do pretty good damage into those heavy cav. Same with the Pyramid Company. They are anti-infantry and can focus all of their massive AP into cutting apart those armored horsemen. It's actually a fantastic catch for them. 398 here on the Great Cannon. Yeah, they got shut down relatively quickly. The artillery crew tried to make it back to the artillery pieces, which luckily still had all 4 models, because only the crew were shot at by the missiles of the High Elves. But they weren't able to make it back in time. For the High Elves, 1069 here on the Pyramid Company. Okay, let's go over. I was gonna say anything about good old Larry here, but 350 value. Who cares? She's a healer. Fine. What matters is, I want to know how she freaking died so quickly. My god, Larry on foot, 60-something melee defense, just got absolutely, like, bonked in the head by freaking Volkmar. I don't know if he just got off his war altar and settled it himself or what, off screen that we didn't see, but it seems like he just, like, jumped off his war altar, brought his big hammer and just like smashed Larry across the head with that hammer, and then got back on to finish the rest of his duties. What the heck happened there? It was pretty funny, gotta say, especially seeing her take that cannonball early on, like straight up very in the beginning of the game. 1069 here on the Pyramid Company. They did great. As I said, they can, if they catch out cav, like the Knights of the Black Rose, they can do some pretty good work. And yeah, Swordmasters had, of course, an easy day, making those Empire spearmen look like they were just but harmless children with those spears, with those pointy little sticks. They showed up and made the best impression that the High Elves could have done there. I mean, the sheer martial ability there compared to anything the Empire could bring. They did some great work. I mean, 249, 150. I'm not going to pay attention to the damage here. Look at the freaking kills. It's like they were playing campaign, and they are picking up chevrons as well. But yeah, 1392, 1850 freaking 8, and 854 on the other one. Despite just mostly killing spearmen, they also got to kill halberds as well, which of course downtraded tremendously. I guess not downtraded, but they got absolutely shredded apart by swordmasters. Not as easily as a spearman, of course, but they're not meant for that job. They're not meant to fight freaking elite high elf infantry. They're meant to fight back cav, or dragons, etc. And instead, swordmasters just cut through them like they were but paper. Yeah, so the swordmasters had a fantastic day. I mean, hell yeah, they did good stuff. 1684 on the Lothern Seaguard. Whole bunch of Lothern Seaguard here. 2 of them in particular did fantastic, 1010 and 1684. I can imagine a lot of the value came from shooting at Volkmar or the Knights of the Black Rose, and even the Great Cannon. But also, of course, probably less Volkmar and more so the Silver Bullets, Great Cannon, and Knights of the Black Rose. But yeah, they did pretty good work in there. 515. Silver Realms didn't do the best, but no surprise there. 1074 on one, however, which is pretty good. I mean, they were mostly one of them was probably running down the silver bullets and fighting Knights of the Black Rose, so easy to pick up value from those two. Speaking of the silver bullets, I forgot to mention they did pretty decent, all right themselves as well, catching out Larry. If they didn't do as much damage into Larry, maybe she would have lived against Volkmar. I'm not sure, but it's potential. It's potential, but or possibility. But yeah, thanks to Ryder for sending in the game here. I think it was Ryder. I don't know. Whichever player for sending in the game here. I'll catch you guys next time with another one. Appreciate you watching. I would also appreciate a subscribe, but no big deal. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.